Hey everyone, I was reflecting on a post that somebody shared on LinkedIn earlier today around Cisco. It was a head of HR of Cisco, which is a large international company that specializes in technology equipment and so forth. And they say that they have been in the last year or so tapping more and more into creating ambassadors out of employees, ambassadors who, when they need a role to fill, they reach out to the employees to find that person for many reasons. One, of course, being that if somebody introduces somebody they know, there's a degree of accountability, of trust, of background checks that are done and so forth, so which makes total sense. But it kind of also made me think about how little we use our, and I hate the word employees, because it's technically it's a correct term, but I prefer calling it the company's family team. You know, the team that you're surrounded by, how little we empower the people who work with and for us to be out there and represent our company. Of course, that carries risks, and I'm sure sort of brand and reputation managers are currently tearing the hair that they have out at the notion of having hundreds, if not thousands, of people out there on social media posting, in a way representing the brand. And at the end of the day, that is what they do. But it also made me think how the world is moving towards a decentralized reputational management approach. You know, the days of tightly controlled, you're not allowed to say anything, do anything, or post anything that might endanger a brand, while understandably, and obviously I'm talking about, you know, relative posting, you know, not hardcore stuff, but those days are gone. Today, if you work for a company and that company name is on your LinkedIn profile, as in I'm an employee there, you are a de facto brand ambassador for that company. And yet, from a brand management perspective, we insist that the person not represent the company either in the official capacity and in a tightly controlled way. And in my view, it doesn't ring right, not in a modern decentralized world in which we're going into. So it made me reflect also on a book I read a while back, which was a study of some of the most successful managers and exactly what is it that they do that differentiates them. And it reminded me of when they looked at some of the world's top restaurants and they interviewed in detail the managers at those restaurants to understand what's the difference between a good restaurant and an absolutely excellent restaurant. And you know what the difference was? The best managers were not forcing the employees to conform to a stereotype. You have to behave like this is what you have to say, this is how you must work, this is how we measure your efficiency, and so forth. What they did, the best managers at least, is really invest time in understanding the strength of each employee. Let me give you a practical example from that book. Wish I could remember the book's name. It comes with age. But one example was, he mentioned the one manager. He says, look, I have two employees. One is a machine of efficiency. She sells. She sees, no reason why a podcast can't be fun. She sees the cutlery that fell on the floor, the serviette which is out of place, and the dirty linen. She has a knack for the moment the food is ready, bringing it piping hot. She hates, however, speaking to customers. She just likes efficiency. And then there's another waiter. He's a chatty, I think he was Italian if I recall correctly, which makes total sense. Chatty, engaging. He would spend a long time charming the socks off the clients who come to the restaurant. And so also upselling, you know, offering, getting suggestions, giving suggestions on what better wine to eat, what to drink, what to eat, what to order, what dessert to enjoy. How is the day going? Welcome back. Really made the customers feel amazing. And here's also the interesting thing. So it sounds right. And from a manager perspective, he said, look, our restaurant outperforms most of the others in profitability, in efficiency. It does make the job of a manager more difficult, more challenging, because of course now it's not a protocol and here's a list of what you must do and how you must behave. But rather, what it does, it brings out the best in people. It makes the people who are good at something and turns that goodness, that talent, into results. You are directing the attitude of the employee to what they are going to be best at. And that is such an amazing way to look at people. And in the same way, I sometimes think, well, if we have people working for us, why don't we have them working for us also with a social media profile? And this doesn't mean now starting to control and monitor and judge and veto or vet every single post that they do. It just means, okay, well, this young lady loves more, beach resorts and posting about this kind of thing. This other person about this. This other guy or girl likes more the technology aspect. So let's start working much more on creating, on understanding and ensuring that everybody understands what we stand for as a company, as a brand, where we're going, what we're trying to achieve. And then let people represent you in a way that is real, that is natural. Even us at the Startup Tribe try to do that. We have absolutely no guidelines. We're driven by one mission only. And that's it. And if somebody wants to post something, or even if somebody posts something about something that we did well or didn't do brilliantly, that's fine. We encourage that dialogue. The only thing is we ask is that if there is a problem, you chat with us first to see if we can't resolve it, if we haven't done something wrong. But we don't try to micromanage people. Even our branding identity, we let people experiment, try. We don't have a fixed layout or a font and so forth. Let the natural voice of those who work with you represent you. Because after all, you did bring people on board. You send them in front of clients. You let them handle client relationships. You let them support queries. And yet, in the public sphere, you want to suppress them. And I think it's wrong. I think we're going into a world of decentralized brand reputation, and it's a very, very, very exciting space to be in, with enormous potential to reach many, many more people. So if anything from today's podcast, I invite you to think more broadly about your brand. Instead of controlling the people who work with and for you, to really invite them to understand what you stand for and what you don't stand for, and then let them experiment it. They might actually come up with a model that you might start copying across the whole company, across what you do. That's happened actually for my own profile. I experimented with somebody else who was working for us. They had a very difficult for me to understand approach to posting things, to communicating. But after a while I started seeing what they were doing and actually bought into that, and now that's pretty much influenced my style of communication. So on that note, I wish you an amazing week.